there, ladies and gentlemen, merchants and traders. My name is Jared, and with me is the president of something, Ian.
Yeah, it's me. I'm the president
Of something.
of something.
We will be your hosts for the episode. We are honored and grateful that you've joined us here at our table. Today, we're at the featured table, where we will be looking at Yokohama, designed by Hisashi Hayashi, artwork created by the Creation Studio, Adam P. McIver, and Ryo Niyamo. And the current version of this game is published by Synapses Games.
Yokohama is a 2 to 4 player grid movement, worker placement, economic game where players are using their merchant president and his associates to move across the harbor of Yokohama. Players will be collecting goods, trading goods, building their faith inside the local church, and going on a pilgrimage, and many other activities inside the harbor of Yokohama. Each merchant will build their fame across town, and at the end of the game, the player who is the greatest merchant inside Yokohama will be declared the victor. So let's review Yokohama.
Heyo.
Ayo. Yokohama.
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 Aha,
Anyway,
he got it. He got it.
This is dumb.
You're
Anyway.
right, it is. It is dumb. Ian, I have a scenario for you. You find out that a far-off rich relative has died. You find out that they leave you with the inheritance of the opportunity to start up a business. What would you want the business to be? Would you run it yourself? Would you hire somebody else to run it? Or would you sell it off as soon as possible?
All right, so a distant relative that's rich gives me their company, basically.
Because they've died. It's not really their company. This is like the pet project that we're like, we'll get to it someday.
Right.
And then, we never got around to it.
But is it this is like, it's a dead company that I'm taking over?
It's not dead. It's brand new. This is
okay.
Initiation phases, hasn't even started yet.
Okay. But
you're
so
building from the
promise.
ground up.
There's promise.
There's promise. All the legal docs are out of the way. It is a company. It's in idea form, not in actually implemented form.
Yeah. Well, since we're playing the what ifs here, in this scenario that I am interested in the business, we're going to assume that.
Okay.
If I'm interested in this business,
what is it? That's part of the question.
Well, yeah, hold on a second. I don't know what it would be. Let's see. If it were, hold on, I'm thinking. It would be something that I'm fascinated in. All right, well, let's do, since we're in Yokohama, let's do this. Let's say it's a very like an exotic fishing
okay.
I don't know, company, some type of fisherman endeavor.
Sure.
He's got a couple, we got a couple boats to our names already. I would be interested and maybe managing to some extent. I don't know anything about that realm, so I'm going to go find somebody to truly run the business. I'm going to be the president. I'm going to be the president of this.
President.
I'm going to be the president of operations of this company and let the true professionals handle the details.
Okay.
But I would be down for this experiment, though.
Okay.
Running a business requires a lot of work, so I would divvy these opportunities elsewhere and let the professionals handle it.
I see.
But yes, absolutely.
There's enough interest that you'd leave your day job and go try and make this work.
Yeah, as long as I can get myself paid enough to pay the bills.
Sure. Yeah,
we'll make it.
I mean, no one makes money when they're starting up a business, but assuming you're not going to starve or something like that. Yeah, of course. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it would be cool.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah. So I thought about this question. Obviously, I thought about this question because I came up with it. But I want to go away from the route that I usually go, which is to talk about either the cafe or a retreat or something like that.
Right.
Too easy. Low hanging fruit of dreams that I want to do someday.
Exactly.
No, I would absolutely jump on this opportunity. Anything I can do to open up my own business, I'm down for. I'm tired of working for the man, as it were.
The big man.
Yes, it's exhausting. Of course, right now I'm not doing that. I'm trying to work again for the big man, which is equally as exhausting.
Yeah, you're still paying the big man, but you don't. Yeah, you currently don't work for the big man.
That's a different one. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I think this would be really cool. This is like one of those in a different life things that I would want to pursue. I would want to open up a sports agency where I am running different agents or assigned to different athletes and things like that. I find that business so fascinating.
Yeah.
And would love to be in the thick of it, even as a startup. Like, I think that'd be super cool. So that's my answer for this pretend question that we have here.
That would be no. I like that one. I just imagine my company being like the Deadliest Catch. That's like
he's already got a name. I love it.
Well, yeah, no, the Deadliest Catch Fishing Company. There's already a show. So maybe we could get.
You're just riffing off of somebody else.
But we could get the hookup with the show and be like, "This is the Deadliest Catch Fishing Company."
That would be like your big milestone is getting them to jump on board.
But again, we're not doing, we're not getting, just basic, flounder or anything. We're going for some like prized specialty fish here. Getting some really good deep sea fish or specialty salmon or something out in Asia somewhere like that.
It's too bad we're not reviewing Deep Regrets today. That would be a really good hook.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, we're reviewing Yokohama. So let's jump into that. Ian, tell us how to play Yokohama. Or at least give us an overview because there's a lot in this game. Yep.
This is a very interesting and fun game, but there is, as we'll probably discuss, there's many options as being a merchant in the city of Yokohama. So let's kind of dive into what this game is. Like I mentioned, this is kind of a worker placement, tile exploring game where you're going to be taking actions from the different tiles that are located around the city of Yokohama in the bay. Each of these tiles will do many, many different options and different actions that you can take. And I'll kind of discuss a few of those here. But the main thing that you're going to do is you're going to have a president and some associates of his to be moving around the city and taking these actions. So to start the game, you'll set up the board, and the board will change every game that you play because you'll shuffle the tiles up and disperse them amongst the board. It is laid out in a specific way, but overall it is very different from game to game. Then you'll have a president and a couple of his assistants or associates, and you also have a player board which has more of these assistants, and you also have shops and trading houses that are located on that player board that you'll be able to unlock and purchase and play them later on in the game. These all will give you points. Again, the player at the end of the game with the most points will win, and all of these things that you do will gain you these points. Now, on a player's turn, what you'll do is you kind of have this action set up of a turn. It's called the main action phase. During the main action phase, you will place and then move and then take the action. And then there's a couple little things beyond that. Placement consists of placing assistants from your pool that you have in front of you that are not out yet, and placing either two ways. Placing 3 assistants into different locations, or placing 2 assistants into one single area. And again, they're all on these tiles. So you're going to be placing the assistants on the tiles, or 2 onto one tile. Once you place your assistants, then you can move, which is the movement part of your president. So when you do this, you can either retrieve him if you don't like what's going on there, or you can place him as what you really want to do is you want to move him either through a kind of a trail of assistance that you have. And so as long as you have a connected route to the new tile that you're going to, you'll be able to take that action. Or you can move through or place it at one that's adjacent or whatever. Either way, you'll be placing this president. Now, once you place the president, you're going to add up your power. So the power is how many, basically how many player tokens you have on the player board. The president will count as 1, and then the assistants will count as 1 as well. But then you also add up any houses or the trading houses that you have, or shops that you have on that location. They all count as a power. And that determines how strong of an action you take on that tile. So obviously the stronger and the more people you have there, the stronger the action will be, which is going to give you more in return for taking that action and potentially scoring you even more points when doing those things. After you do all this and you take the action, you'll get a bonus if you had a 5 power. 5 power is the highest that you can have. You can have more than that, but there's really no reason to, because 5 is the max. Then after that, you can place in purchase shops and place them onto the location that you want, or a trading house, which we'll discuss later. And then you recover, you just kind of reset your stuff. And then you move on. You can take additional actions, which I will explain here in a second as well. But you'll take these actions. That's the end of your turn. The player, you'll go clockwise and the next player will go. Now, what is, the objective of moving around, collecting all of the different things that these boards, and again, there's just kind of unlimited things going on. But one, the main things that will score is you have a church bonus. Now, the church is a location you can go to. You can collect some goods, and then you will basically trade those goods in at the church and then go on a pilgrimage. The more you do this, the more, higher strength that you have when doing these actions gets you more and more points. So that's one way you can do it, is you can, trade some goods and some of your assistants in and go on a pilgrimage and get yourself some points. Another thing you can do is go to the customs. Now, customs area is something that you will use. Mainly, you'll be collecting goods throughout the game. And you'll use these goods to trade them in and trade them through the customs area. And it's basically you're making trades at the dock with the oncoming things and basically selling off your goods and going through customs. And so when you do this throughout the game, you'll be able to ship off some very special goods. And this is what that customs board is. You're going to score really a ton of points via this board. Again, there's only limited spaces on these boards that I'm mentioning, but that's one way you can do it. And that's the major thing, is these really specialty goods. But throughout the game, you'll also be trading with the local merchants of your local, your just small goods that are, in the game. I think there's tea leaves, there's bronze, there's silk, stuff like that throughout the game. You're going to be trading to gain points, to gain these really specialty goods and things like that. Another location that you can go to, or that a board that is very prominent, is the technology bonus. So you can go to these locations and purchase technology. These technology can either give you points at the end of the game, they can give you really special powers throughout the game that you no longer have to follow that track that I mentioned when moving your present. You can just go wherever, because you have tunnels or the bus. I'm not sure exactly what it gives you, but it's something that allows you to break the rules a little bit. There's also a little bit of scoring via the country bonus. The country bonus is very interesting, that each of these cards, either selling with local merchants or going to specific locations, purchasing special technologies, they all have specific countries on them. You have Great Britain, you have France, you have the Netherlands, you have US. When collecting these cards, as long as you have, at the end of the game, there's 5 different ones. If you have all 5, you're going to score 12 extra points. But on top of that is when you collect 2 of the same nationality of a card, you're going to gain the ability to gain this spy. And so that's the mention that I mentioned that a little bit earlier. When taking actions, is you can get a bonus action. And this bonus action consists of spending that spy that you've collected and basically taking an extra action. And you'll go somewhere and take a tile action that you don't have your president on, but you have assistants on. And so you'll be able to trigger this extra action, which is the most broken thing that you can do in the game. It is highly, highly valuable to gain these spies and take these extra actions, because in a game like this, you're trying to brush to a tile before somebody else does. And to be able to trigger any extra actions when you can is highly valuable. And so these what these spies do. That's also what these country bonuses do. And so those are cards that you're going to be collecting either via trading with local merchants or collecting these technologies throughout the game. Then, that's the basic rundown of most of the tiles. Most of the tiles will get you things to complete really these major tiles. But on top of that, at the end of the game, you'll kind of add up all of the things that you've unlocked on your player board, all the different shops you've placed or trading posts that you've placed, and any of those special technologies. You also have these, again, those really special, imported goods, and all of those you'll add up. There's a lot of different scoring at the end of the game, so I'm not going to dive into all of them. But all of these, you'll be taking all of these actions to really complete those major things, and the player who has the most points at the end of all of that will be crowned the greater merchant. So, anyway, let's discuss.
Awesome job. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. I don't want to drag people into the abyss of each individual location because it's quite daunting.
I mean, it's one of those things, though, right? Like, any good worker placement is going to require explaining what 1,000 different things do, because you have to know where all the places go and what they do and how they work together. And so,
absolutely.
It's just one of the joys, man.
Yeah, and I think we'll talk about some of our kind of favorite spots, because I do there's so many cool locations, I think, that do really cool things in this game.
Sure.
Which makes it very interesting. And so, like I said, there are kind of your basic goods, and those are copper, silk, tea, and fish. So there's the goods of Yokohama that you're trying to do, and you're going to kind of, it's like any really good worker placement, you're kind of getting this kind of generic thing, getting a lot of it, and then using it somewhere else to go get something better. A very economic game like that is, again, economic worker placement. And so you're building up this kind of supply of kind of basic things and trading it in for a much better thing. And in that, honestly, this game does a ton of that. Again, you feel I'm not sure how your opinion, I know we talked about this pre-episode, but I do feel like feels very economical in that regard, is that I do feel like I'm going around rushing to different locations, really collecting the different goods of the town to go and, can I build my reputation as this royal merchant. So,
yeah,
anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll just start with, one of the things that I've been thinking about with this game is the theme. And I think it's interesting because on the one hand, mechanically, this game is great. I'll just go ahead and put that out there. There's so many different things that are tied together in this game that flow really well. And there's a lot of cool ideas. From a game perspective, it's this very intense puzzle that you are playing with these other people, and you're trying to complete the puzzle faster than they do. And so from the perspective of what you're just kind of talking about, of in the economics of every turn, I feel pressure to do it perfectly. And I want to make sure that I'm not leaving any resource left untapped, because my competitors are going to take advantage of that and pull ahead. And once they're ahead of me, then I'm really scrambling to try and make it up in a different way. And I've got to divert from my original strategy a little bit. So from that perspective, I feel like a merchant. But the flip side of that is there's a lot going on in this game. From a game perspective, I am collect A, B, C to be able to do D, E, F, or collect A, B, and then I'm going to pivot and do X, Y, Z, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And every time I've played this game, I've walked away thinking that was a really good game. I don't really know thematically what we were doing, but the game itself is very good. And so that's a very interesting contrast as someone who really loves putting theme first in a lot of games. I don't know. It's a very weird spot. So I don't know how you feel about that piece in particular, but it was definitely something where I'm like, okay, yeah, we're collecting different tea leaves and bricks and fish and things like that. But I'm never feeling like I'm in the streets of Yokohama trying to make sure that I get my next profit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think we differ on this one a little bit. I think overall, because of the worker placement aspect, I do feel like, I'm going around. Yeah, I mean, could there have been a little bit more detail? Again, in a worker placement, you do feel like it's this top-down approach because, you're going, usually, in a lot of worker placements, you're looking down at a town, going to different things, or inside of, something, going to different locations. So it does have this more over kind of view of what the theme is. So I do feel that in this game that it's maybe not the most, I feel like I'm actually being the man making the deal at the counter. But overall, I do feel like between the artwork and the different actions of being able to, trade, again, going and getting some tea leaves doesn't feel like you did anything. But when I go and, I go to the customs or I go to Chinatown, which is a location that's in the higher player counts, because you can make some exchanges for different goods, or you go to the church. Like, I do feel like I am doing those things, which is kind of neat. So I think we differ just a little bit. I do feel like the theme hits for me in that worker placement aspect, maybe just a pinch more than you.
And I don't even know, like, it doesn't even really add, it does not act as a detriment, really. Like, I still very much enjoy the puzzle, but it's very much, it walks that Euro line of, there's a theme here, but the game is first, and it will be first, second, and third as far as priority. And then we'll make sure the theme is there, and we have things that are assigned appropriately. Like, it all makes sense when you think about it, but I'm never immersed in being a merchant in Yokohama. I'm immersed in trying to figure out this crazy puzzle, if that makes sense. So that's kind of where I'm coming out with that.
No, I think I understand. Yeah, I get that. And I could see that being something that a lot of people do as well. Because really what holds down the theme is really the art and, the economical standpoint of trading goods back and forth with the game is really what's going to drive what the theme is, which is a merchant city, as far as that phase goes. So overall, no, I think these are good points. Do you have, a specific location or rule or like interaction that you find most fascinating for this game as far as design or whatever, as far as the worker placement goes?
Yeah. So I'm curious. You might have already said it, and I apologize.
No.
What's the location called where you trade in your cargo to get like a ton of points?
The customs. So
okay, so that is your customs.
Yeah.
Okay.
The customs is you pay the imported goods are like the really special, the ones that you basically have to get by trading either a lot of the cheap goods for other things or like actually going and like buying it straight up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I really like the customs office only because I love, and it goes back to that tension of I need to play my turns as efficiently as possible. But after my first several plays, my thought always starts with, okay, how do I get 4 cargo boxes? Because I need that as soon as possible. Because yes, we're all probably going to go to the customs office and do our best to get a high jump in points. But one, if you're playing a 4-player game, then somebody's really getting the short stick on that. And then 2, even if you're playing in a lower player count, like it's 7 points between the first slot and the second one. And that can be a huge difference maker in this game.
Absolutely.
And so it's almost this thing that just sits there for like 2/3 of the game. But you're like slowly chipping away at it. You're going to drop off an assistant and you're like, no one worry about that. That we're not doing anything with that. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. And so there's just there. I love that tension of this place that doesn't like it means almost nothing. Like you could go there early, I suppose, and like just kind of nickel and dime it. That's not how I like to play it, but yeah, just that tension of I need to find the most efficient way to get these cargo boxes where I'm not sacrificing other points to get this high point jump, and I'm also still working towards it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
No, I mean, I think that's definitely towards the top. I mean, the fact, like you're saying, there are a couple different ways to gain that special good. Most of the time, it's making trades like at the port with like those basic goods to make a deal to get one. There are other ways to get them as well.
Like that's always random, right? Like that could be anywhere as far as some of those things go. But I know what you're talking about with the exchanging out.
The car. But
there's different bonuses that will be different from place to place each game. And that could also kind of determine ways of getting it as well.
Exactly. And that's that. So I think overall, I agree. That's one of my favorite aspects of the game. But I think the one thing that I also love that kind of ties into how to get those goods to trade. I love the fact that they have an employment agency. That's the
Yeah.
tile that it's called. And so one, what you'll do is you'll take your president, you'll go there, and then you'll basically be able to unlock like a certain amount. So, 1, 2, 3, or 4 unlocked of either on, because you have that board in front of you that has all the extra assistance that you haven't used yet, your trading houses and then shops. And so you get like 4 points of unlock to either, and you do have to purchase the shops and the trading posts. So you have to have coins to pay for those. The assistants are free. And so what I love though is you get to go in and you kind of customize, what do I want to unlock for the future? Do I want to get a bunch of assistants now, or do I want to, unlock some shops and place them? And again, like you mentioned, once you go and you get a 5 power bonus somewhere, usually when you start doing the 5 power bonus, you start getting a lot of things. And that does include that cargo. And so, or, some really good other thing. It gives you like 6 like tea leaves, or you get to unlock like 4 more things, or you get like a whole bunch of money, or they kind of, like you said, completely, yeah. Who knows what the variable things are. But I love the fact that, you can unlock, there's that alone, that track, what you unlock can really change the way you play your game. Because me and you, I think we played very separate games in the most recent game that we played, is that I unlocked like almost every assistant I had. I just unlocked all of them. Where you kind of messed around, you got a couple shops, you got a couple things unlocked. You didn't really go for as many assistants unlocked. And I kind of hit that thing up a couple times, and I just got a bunch of assistants. And then from there, I just like played them all down. And I just think, again, both are really good ways to play. I don't think there's one that's worse than the other. It's just so many, like that, just the way you unlock more stuff is a different strategy every time. And then how do you apply those things? How do you use your assistants? If you have a bunch of them, do you start just spreading them out and then you can take like 5 power actions back to back to back? Or do you just slowly take just some really like middle ground actions, like, 3 or 4 power, don't really care about the 5 power stuff. So all of these ways that you use and unlock the things in front of you allow you to take these really strong actions. And I think it just unlocks so much potential, no pun intended, but it just overall, it gives you just so much to do, like you've mentioned prior. Like there is so much to do in this game. There's so many different actions that you will be taking throughout the game. Some are more necessary than others, and some are optional. Like I didn't go to the church the first game I ever played, but in the second game, or in the most recent game, I went to the church a little bit more frequently. And so that's one way to score points, which, we might have a critique of the church at some point. I'm not really sure, but, either way, not as the church as a whole, but the church in this game.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we do have a critique.
We could have all kinds of critiques depending on what kind of church we're talking about.
That's right. But anyway, I just love this, like the combination, like you mentioned. There's just so much to do, and it's really neat.
Yeah. So, and I think this is going to get to what you said was one of your favorite things in the game. So the actions don't change from game to game. Underneath each action is the bonus tiles that go underneath each action for when you get either a 4 or a 5 power plus, to be able to build those different buildings that you have, and you can claim various bonuses. And the fact that those are modular and they change from game to game, I think is an incredible decision, because it really changes how you value each action, and it gives a freshness to the game. Because once you've kind of got a worker placement down, like you can kind of get in a rhythm of the things that you like to do, but this really changes up that strategy.
Yeah, it does. Like, because you can't, let's say you're going for, you're trying to really push for that cargo early. Well, if the locations change every round, some of it's going to be like, oh, you have to go to the church a couple times to get the thing, or you have to collect a lot of goods, but you're not really trading them. Then that's going to be different. Where the next game is, you need to trade a bunch to be able to get or you need to go purchase a bunch of, contracts or whatever they're called. Basically, it's like requests cards, basically, from the port of what goods they want.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, like you said, those tiles are moving every game. And so you never know what those tiles will be. And there's actually extra too. So you play with a bunch, but there's also there's 5 or 6 that you don't see in the game. So on top of the moving everywhere, you don't even see the same ones every game.
That's right.
So all of these are really helpful in creating like a very great variety of play. Replayability factor here is huge. And then on top of that, you just have so many options in strategy that change from game to game.
For sure. I think for me, one of my favorite mechanics is this way of moving and the way you interact with the other players as you're moving. Because when you talk about placing down your assistants, and then eventually you're going to have to play your president somewhere along that track of your assistants. And then there's limitations as far as where your president can go without paying other players, and then you're beholden to making sure that you trigger whatever your president's on. So you've got to think about, you can't just think about this turn. You got to think 2 and 3 turns ahead. What am I working towards? And your opponents are also thinking about that as well, and thinking about ways to be able to get in your way. I just think it's a really neat aspect of worker placement, where you're not just worrying about, are they taking my stuff? That absolutely happens. But what are they doing a few turns down the road to try and block my stuff or take my stuff or whatever it may be?
Yeah. And, we had multiple times while playing this game of trying to beat each other to a location. And one thing I didn't mention is, so when you move your president or whatever, or you have to place assistants down, and you have to move through or place where there isn't already a president. Well, you can't place your president in a location that already has a president. But when you have to place or move through an area that has a president, you have to pay them. And you have to pay them $1 or a coin or whatever.
No, it's a yen.
A yen.
We're not in America, Ian.
You pay them one of your coins, and you pay them 1 yen. Anyway, that's a lot in this game, because money in this game is rare. It is hard to find, and if not, you have to spend a lot of time getting it. And so it becomes challenging. And so, like you mentioned, you have to move through this track of your guys. And let's say your opponent's in the way. Well, that's now I have to pay them on top of all it becomes quite challenging.
Well, it's not just money, right? Every resource is super tight.
Yes. Yeah. You become very limited. And again, you can always go get what you want. It just depends on how much time do you want to allocate to do that. There is nothing in this game that is, impossible to gain. Even, the more rare resource that is basic is the copper. You can get it easily by spending time to do it.
But it feels so bad to do it, Ian. You're committing so much time, and it's a lot. Yeah, there's really an efficiency to this game that's very intelligent.
Yeah. No, it is. And that's what's exciting about playing a game like this over and over again, is you kind of get better at finding the pathways to specific things. And again, a pathway in one game might be different in another game. And so there is this kind of exciting discovery within the game of what is this board layout allow me to do differently than prior layouts. So all of these honestly are fantastic. I love the way that it plays. And so I guess I do want to mention something that kind of bothers me a little bit within these tokens, within these tiles, if you're okay with me moving to that.
Yeah, this is very unexpected as your favorite game of 2025. I didn't think there'd be any critiques. So please, I'm all ears.
There's a slight one. So like we mentioned, there's the customs, which is a fantastic way to gain a ton of points.
Sure.
The one that I find a little bit more frustrating is the church and the faith pilgrimage thing. I think it's quite expensive for what the return is on that specific tile. And
interesting.
And I find it it's just a lot for a little. And the way I say that is, so your imported goods, if you go to customs, you can get 22 max points and then 15 and 16 points. The max amount of points you can get on the faith track are 14.
Yeah.
And
But don't shortchange the other part of it.
there is an end game bonus for both of them.
No. I'm talking about the ability to put 3 of your assistants back onto the board and move them around. That's huge.
No, I know exactly. So when you do the pilgrimage, that's why it's called a pilgrimage, is you take these assistants and you place them elsewhere, which is a big deal because normally when you go somewhere, and I don't think I mentioned this earlier, is when you take the action of the president, you take your assistants back into your like pool. It creates the kind of chain effect of being able to always place as more assistants down. Yes, no, that is a valuable tool. Absolutely. And so that is something that I haven't taken a huge advantage of. What I would say in this regard is that I don't, maybe I could be wrong, but in the games we played, maybe it was also like the things underneath the tile just didn't really work with it. It felt quite expensive because you have to trade individual goods of different types. So you can't have like 7 tea leaves. You need to have 1 of each type. And the more you have, it gives you a higher strength. And you can also trade the special cargo as well to do these. It just feels really expensive. You have to spend 1 of each and then spend your pilgrims or spend your assistants to become pilgrims and get the points. But then at the end of the game, it also doesn't give you as many points. It's only 6 points instead of 8 and 3 instead of 4 instead of, trading with customs. So you're getting overall reduction in value, in my opinion. Plus you have to spend a bunch of goods that you really need. That's I think maybe the main issue I have is that it's not just spending 1 type because you spend the cargo to go to the customs. That's just 1 type. Now it requires a lot to get those.
I was going to say.
But when you go to these other spots to get the really high value points, you have to spend maybe a cargo or a copper or these kind of really valuable goods. It's not just spend like a bunch of cheap. You also have to spend a lot of things if you want to get those high points. And so that's the one thing is like I'm also spending a bunch of goods, different ones, and then I'm not getting as many points. So in the games we've played, I've just not felt like it was something I should just go all into. It is something that I've taken actions once or twice to get, those high value points just once, but it's not something I'm not selling out for the church. And that sounds bad, but that's not what I'm doing in this game. I think it's more of just another way to score. I would love to see somebody, maybe I need to play another game and just commit to it and see. I don't know.
You can just watch me play and see how good it goes.
You didn't play very well that one game. So that's the one you went for the church?
No, that's Garbo. See, okay, here's the thing. I think the way that we play, the church definitely has its place. And if you don't go all out and get a bajillion minions like you like to do, then you can really feel the value of being able to move those extra assistants around.
That's a good point.
And so you're investing time getting all of your little dudes. And I'm like, no, we're just going to recycle the dudes we got. And so I think that's the difference in why I value it a little bit more than
that's what we call going on a pilgrimage.
That's right.
Recycling.
We're recycling. I mean,
Again, this is a minor critique. Again, yes, it was my favorite game from last year. So it's more of a strategic thing that I don't feel the power as strong as a strategy as the other options, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't have value because I've used it. I mean, I've gotten points from it. Absolutely.
No, that makes sense.
So,
yeah,
I'm more disappointed that, and maybe that's it. It's that like, it's only worth 6 and then the customs is worth 8. Like why are they different?
Yeah.
Because they're both end game scoring ones. So like,
I think, I don't know, man. Like the more I think about it, if everybody at the table knows what they're doing, getting 4 cargo should be really hard. That should not be an easy thing to do.
That's fair.
Like, I think you have to seriously commit to it once everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, the main way I was getting the cargo is via the port trades. So I'd always
I understand.
Go and pick like 3 or 4 of them and get them in my hand as quickly as I can and then just start, fulfilling the orders. So, but yeah, I mean, to find the 4th though, sometimes you do have to find it on the board somewhere. And if you have a board of a table of experienced players, they might be like, okay, you can't have those cards and that. I'm going to go get that. So
Right.
That's fair.
So I've expressed already a little bit of my critique about the theme. I mean, it's a Euro, so like take it for what it is, you know. It's just what it is. Like, it's fine.
You're not smelling the ocean when you play this game. You know,
you are not.
You're not feeling the mist on your face.
You're not feeling the rush of running through the city trying to make this thing work. Let me just say that, and that's fine. Like again, I can appreciate the game aspect, and I can appreciate how intelligent the game can be. So I do like that. I'm gonna make a take, and this is not about the. I think this is me. This is not for the game overall. I think if you really like this kind of game, you're gonna hear this and you're like, Jared, you're an idiot. Because the game is such a puzzle. After I won, I didn't have a strong desire to come back to it. In the same way that, like, once I've completed a puzzle, I don't want to do it again. And again, like, the game has incredible replayability. And when I hadn't won, when I hadn't figured out the puzzle, I'm like locked in. Like, let's play again right now. Is it midnight? Absolutely. We're playing right now. But once I'd won, I'm kind of like, okay. I mean, that was fun and I really enjoyed it. And now I want to move on. So for me personally, it's not one that I do want to keep coming back to over and over again, even though it does have such access for replayability. And I think that's just how my brain works. But like, if you're not super into puzzles all the time, you might feel the same way. But if you like Euros and you like puzzles, it's a really good one. So that's just kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. I think I may agree slightly. This type of game I do think fits more into my style than maybe yours in that regard. And so maybe that's why I'm more like, absolutely hit me again. So, but I think I do understand that a little bit, is that it is repetitive in nature, in the fact that you move and you take the action and that's it, which can happen. That kind of
that seems a little too, like, I didn't want to say it that way because that feels like that's taking too much away from what the game is doing.
Sure. Well, no, and I think honestly, no, now that you're mentioning it, like, a critique for me, like you're saying, and I think I will get on board.
I'm bringing him down from his number one game of 2025.
No. I'm saying worker placement in general, because like I said, it's kind of that I'm looking down at this location of whatever theme we're playing. It does feel like I'm not actually like doing the things. I just feel like I'm, just moving pieces around. That's the difficulty in making a really good worker placement game. Is are you starting to feel the theme a little bit, and how do you do that?
And and it's like, do you focus on the theme, or do you just trust that the puzzle you've created is enough to draw your gamers back in again?
Absolutely. So I think all of these are all, issues that could come about, especially if you have trouble with worker placements or just a lot of options and it's overwhelming. This has it. But again, it's a puzzle. And the more you play, and perfect this individual puzzle, I think you'll have more and more fun with it. And I do think it's going to unlock new options for you. And like, because now, I mean, I've played it a bunch of times now, and now I'm like, okay, well, I've tried it this way, I've tried it that way. And now, like, I know next time I'm going to kind of push for the church option and kind of see what that looks like, because I haven't explored that a ton. And so I'm kind of excited to try a new way to play, or, there's a couple different routes that I could adventure into. And so, again, I think, like you said, I think some people might find that boring. They're like, okay, well, I played it, I know what the actions do, I'm not super excited about it. But then I think there are other people like myself that may find it, okay, well, now I want to see what the other options are and see what that other path looks like. And so
there are other paths.
Yeah.
That is, I don't in any way, I mean, I've seen in the games that we've played, there's multiple paths to victory. Like Ian talks about, the one game where he got all of his guys. Ian lost that game. Like, it's not just a surefire guarantee that because you do X thing really well, that you've got a clear path to victory.
Absolutely.
And that is very intriguing about this game. So, but for me, it just, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's the theme that does it. Cause like I felt the same thing in Rock Hard 1977, where like, okay, I'm starting to feel that there's only so many spots you can go, right? So like once we play with my brother while we were on Christmas break, and he wanted to keep coming back to it over and over again, which was great. One of the highlights of my gaming career by far. My brother, who doesn't play games, wanted to keep coming back to it, which was awesome.
Yeah,
but
that's good.
By the end of the weekend, I'm like, all right, we've seen the same ones over and over again. Like, there's only so much we can do here.
Yeah.
So it's a give and take.
Yeah, I mean, that one, the one thing I will say about that is it is, again, it's top-down approach a little bit, but like that one, you are the individual musician moving around, doing stuff within being a musician. So it has this little bit more hint of theme, I think, than something like this. This is a little bit more,
grandiose.
Helicopter view of what's going on, where that's like, you're driving in the car. And so it's a little bit more personable. So
that's right.
Again, I understand that. I think I can agree for the most part within that, that thought. And I think that's something to be cautious in if that's going to bother you. Yeah, it's something to be wary of for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think if you, like we've said, and I think we're getting close to repeating ourselves at this point, if you really like Euros, if you like that puzzly aspect of trying to figure it out, and you really want to, like, maybe you're a newer gamer and you love puzzles and you want to challenge yourself, like this will challenge you in that there's going to be a lot to learn on the front end. But I think the interesting thing about this game is, like, even after, like, there's a basically a forgive me game that you start with, where we're not even really going to worry about it. We're just getting our feet wet and we're figuring out what the things do. And once you get past that, everything is very easily understood as far as what they do and how they go about. So at that point, you're just focusing on the puzzle itself. So if that kind of challenge is something you're looking for, then this is definitely an intelligent game to do something like that.
Yeah. And again, I think this allows, if you're, like you said, if you're okay with a little bit of stress on your first game,
it is a little stressful.
It's a lot to look at. But like I said, like, the actions themselves are not complicated. You need some tea leaves to fill this order. Go get the tea leaves. Like, it is very simple and straightforward when it comes to that aspect. I think perfecting this game is quite challenging. And the more I play it, the more I'm learning about it. And I think that's really cool. And that means it's a very elegant design and allows for experienced gamers or new gamers to continue to find new ways to play. Again, with an evolving board that is always changing every game, it is a puzzle that you're trying to figure out every game. And I think you made a good point there. If you're a player that likes puzzles, this is a puzzle basically every time because it's slightly different every time. So I think that's really neat in the way that game plays. One thing that I like to mention before, and I don't know how we're ending this all, but I will say the ability, and I kind of mentioned this before, is the ability to take a second action with those spies.
It's very
really changes this game for me. And that is something that allows you to do something that you normally can't do. And also the technologies allow you to do that as well, which is really cool. But again, that is a very just minor thing that could really throw, a wreck into your opponent's plans. If you're like, oh, shoot, they're going to take another action and snatch that from underneath my toes. And so I think that's a really neat twist that does add a little, just that extra variety for me, because normally, you move your guys, take an action, move your guys, take an action. But to have once or twice a game, you got to find that perfect timing for that extra move and that extra action to go get something that your opponent's about to get. And so I think that's a really neat add. I think that adds a lot of, again, player variability, but it just adds that extra thing to always be worried about that I really think, I think that's I don't know. It seems like such a minor thing, but for me, the more I think about that specific thing really pushes this to another level for me, because I'm like, I really want to get the ability to take that action, and I need to be watching myself and my opponents at all times to make sure that they're not going to snatch something out from underneath me. And so that adds that one extra piece of tension, like you mentioned, that I really like. I love the tension of being able to constantly be observing what my opponents are doing. And I think, again, that tension in a game for me is really, I love that tension in a game. And so all of that really welcomes that tension, and I welcome it. It's good.
Sure. I mean, having ways of getting extra actions is pretty normal with worker placements and things like that. I do like the uniqueness of how you get the extra action, of having to collect certain amounts of flag icons through the tech and the trade cards and things like that. They're having to do that adds an extra element of, well, do I take this one or do I take that one? Because if I take that one, I get the spy. And if I take this one, it's more of what I want.
Yeah.
So
it's
adding
compromise.
that, I'm always about adding that tension. Like, I think that really increases a game's value.
Yeah.
So that to me is really neat. And I do like that.
Yeah. They're the goods. They're like the orders. They're good orders, basically.
That's right. Yep.
So, but in a way though, it is quite annoying when you're like looking for a specific icon and you can't find it. So there is that aspect as well. But like overall, I think it's a good little ad that really adds some good variety. So
sure. All right, man. Well, that's all I got. We're up on an hour. Do you got anything else?
No. And again, if you like worker placement, if you like the ability to kind of figure out a puzzle as you're playing it, variable actions, like unlimited actions and combinations of ways to win. If you like any of those, this is a game for you, for sure. Like this has it all, just in full blown aspect of worker placement and economic game. So it has a little bit of everything. We talked about that, Jared. We've mentioned like aspects, but like this game does have a little bit of everything on like, fulfilling some orders or doing, different weird things with your people. And just you kind of have a lot of different things going on in the game. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. I think it's really good as far as bringing all the pieces together. There's some games that they'll try and add an element and you're like, we didn't need that. Like, we could have cut this and it still would have been a good game. Like, but no, I really agree with you that it does bring those in a very elegant way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I don't have anything else. It was on it was at the top of my list for last year. So I very much enjoy this one.
Yep. And if you haven't yet seen it, go check out the rest of his list in Ian's 2025 Games of the Year. So with that, if you have feedback or want to give us your thoughts on the game, we would love to hear from you. Links to our socials and things like that are in the description. If you don't like socials, I totally get it. Check out our website at thegametablepodcast.com. Shoot us an email at thegametablepodcast@gmail.com or find us on Board Game Geek. All those links are also in the description. 5-star reviews, subscribing your podcast player of choice, subscribing and liking on YouTube, following us on socials if that's your thing, and joining the conversation on Discord. All these heroic actions are immensely helpful in growing this podcast. Special thanks to Ashley McCaffrey for our cover art, to Anna Snyder who made the intro and outro music, and to Alexi Chistelin for the How to Play background music. Join us next week as we head over to the two-top table. In the meantime, may your dice rolls and your card draws be blessed, and your experiences at the table be ones to remember forever.
That's right. That's right. And on next episode of Deadliest Catch, Ian crashes his boat into the sea. Ian got lost at sea. That's what happened.
Yep.
Never returned.
I can see the headline now. Recently become billionaire, lost at sea.
Gosh. Oh, what a disaster.
That's why the peasants can't have the money.
My gosh. Yeah, it's going to be the new thing. The new gate. Not Ocean Gate.
Gosh.
Catch Gate.
We'll stop the recording now.